Welcome in, dogs, cats, babies, and humans. You're allowed to be here too. Hi, what's up? CHGO Wrestling is now in your face and on your airwaves. I am Big Dave. BAWL Bow Sports is where you can follow me on Twitter. That is our special advocate. That is Greg Boysen. You can follow him at Greg Boysen. How did you do that, by the way?
I had focus groups. I hired consultants.
Okay.
It was a long process, but that's what we went with.
Well, a successful process.
It works for me.
Yes.
It sounds right.
Yes. And also our producer today, shout out to her, is our friend Sarah.
Yes.
Stepping in for our guy Sean, who is doing an emergency pod right now for the Chicago White Sox because some big news just dropped.
Ow.
Thank you, Sarah. Big news just dropped about Jerry Reinsdorf selling some ownership of the squad. Sean came in on a cloud and floated right into Studio B and is recording that show right now with Joey. So make sure you check that out. It's going on live right now. But while he's doing that, we're going to continue on and do this for you all. CHGO Wrestling. We got a lot to get into. We got a lot to discuss. We got the Money in the Bank card to get into, man. We got some AEW stuff we definitely going to get into as well. But let's start with the big talking wrestling. Right now is the cuts that WWE has made to the roster. Sarah Logan's a part of that. Carlito's a part of that. But the biggest one I think that fans just really just were very sad about was R-Truth not coming back. His contract is not going to be renewed by WWE. Dave Meltzer, just want to say I'm saying it right. Dave Meltzer reported that it was Triple H's decision with the quote, "If you're not being used in a program and you're not like this major superstar, you're in danger. And older is worse than younger, obviously." Now, R-Truth is kind of one of those guys, just always, I just like, he's going to be there. You know, I'm like, oh no, it's R-Truth. He'll be there. Even if we don't see him, you know, on TV for a while, we know he's going to show up at some point in time. So I think that's why this kind of hits a little differently, you know, for fans, because they kind of grew up also with R-Truth.
Yeah, and it's not just the fans. Like, you could just tell by the outpouring from current and other former WWE stars.
The respect. Yeah.
How it caught them off guard.
Yeah.
And you know, how well loved he is. And it's just, again, the timing is bad because you just gave him this, you know, world title match at Saturday night's main event. You put him in with John Cena. You're kind of like, okay, you're finally like giving him his due for everything he's done in his career over 20 years in the business and a lot of that with WWE. And then, you know, oh, here's your big match, biggest match of your career probably. And oh, by the way, you're gone. Like it you know, who knows if that decision had been made at that time? You know, I don't know the, you know, the inner workings of how this works. But
from what I was reading, and again, you can take it with a grain of salt because there's so many, you know, articles and people saying things. But the things that I was reading said that this was kind of in the works for a while, that Tony Khan also had more of a hand in this than Triple H. But if Dave Meltzer is saying it, then you know what I mean?
Nick Khan,
excuse me. Yeah. Nick Khan, shout out Tony Khan. But if Nick Khan had more of a hand in this, and this is something that had been in the works for a while, and there was an offer made to him, but it was kind of a lowball offer. Right. So he was like, I'm not taking that either, and kind of leads to this situation.
I'm sure all these guys and ladies could see the writing on the wall. If you know your contract's up in a month, 2 months, and you haven't heard peep, you could probably start updating that resume, start making some phone calls and saying, hey, got any dates open? You know, but this is just, you know, you could say it's Triple H's decision. You could say Nick Khan did it. I mean, this is a product of the TKO regime now. I mean, you have WWE is now owned by an outside entity for the first time ever.
Correct.
It's $1 billion corporation.
Correct.
That is all about the bottom line. And when they say, hey, we're trying to get fresh faces in here, that's BS. We want younger, cheaper talent in here because even though we're making money hand over fist, we can make more. And if it means we have to, cut some of these inflated contracts for these middle card guys, and then bring in 2 or 3 younger guys or girls for that same price, that's what we're going to do. Yeah. It's all about the bottom line. It's all about the money. And this is what happens when you get these big time corporations. All of a sudden, you get people in boardrooms that don't know R-Truth or Carlito or Sarah Logan from anybody else. Yeah. They just see their number on a spreadsheet and say, we can get rid of that, and this. And then, hey, look at that. We're even more profitable.
That's what
it's profits over people, which unfortunately is just a major part of our world today.
That's perfectly said. Profits, it feels like profits over people now. And it feels like people who aren't, like you just said, who aren't fans of, what's going on are making the decisions. And even if you're not a fan, like just people who don't know what's going on, just looking at a sheet, and saying, no. Oh, these numbers don't work. No. And then getting them off the air. Even when he came back the next night on that Saturday night main event with the Ron Cena shirt on, I thought that was brilliant. I was like, dude, this is a brilliant shirt. And it started selling. It was like a top 2 selling shirt.
Those are worth money now.
Yeah,
if you even get them.
Yeah.
They were pre-orders. I bet you they refunded all their money.
Good point.
Because they pulled that off.
Yeah.
You can't even get it. So I doubt anybody actually gets those.
Yeah.
But if you do, you got yourself an eBay big money maker.
I'll let your boy, because I would love one of those, man.
And even like the way they handled it, where they were like, nobody can wear any R-Truth gear on that Monday, even though my guy, Dirty Dom, snuck in a Carlito shirt.
He did.
Dude's every week I love him more.
He grows,
just to do that, he's like,
that's awesome.
He put that on there and said, I dare you.
Yeah.
I dare you.
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah. I thought about that when I saw Rhea Ripley make her appearance on Raw, and she had the tattoos showing. And usually she doesn't have the tattoos or the abs showing, when she's backstage. It's not like that. When she's out in the ring, of course.
Right.
But usually she's usually pretty covered up. You know what I'm saying? Like that, has a t-shirt on or something like that. And I was like, that's different. I remember it just stuck in my brain. Like, I wonder why she did that. And then a picture came out of her and she had on an R-Truth shirt backstage. And I said, oh, okay, I know exactly what happened.
Told her to take that off.
Yeah. Get that out of here. You're not wearing that on this program today. Because I was like, that was just strange to me. But yeah, I get it. I think that's whack. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I understand that you can't, if you know about the WWE, you can't push stuff down. You can't control the fans. You can't control the universe. They're going to do what they want. Hey, guys, you can't curse. We don't want y'all to curse no more. Oh, word? Yeah, okay. We paid what to get in here?
Exactly.
You better believe we're going to be cursing. Oh, we don't want no R-Truth stuff said. Well, get them We Want Truth chants started right now, and it might turn into a whole CM Punk kind of thing as well. Like, because you cannot control the universe. It's one of the beautiful things about wrestling, why I've always kind of loved it, is a fan-first thing. The fans will tell you what works or not. You can put out what you think will work, what you think they'll like, and try to make them like it. They won't. They will make their own decisions based on what they feel. They do it all the time, man. Like, it is instant feedback for your product right there. And that's why I love it so much. And you can't control them and tell them what to do. And they're learning that right now. And I'm hoping they're learning the hard way.
Well, the show that, like, they didn't really, like, they could have turned this into like a creative thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could have had like Cena come out and say, I'm here to ruin wrestling. That's his. Yeah. Now, they could have been like, you know what? After I squashed R-Truth, I got him fired.
Yeah.
I'm here to ruin wrestling. That's what. So you could have drawn, even though everybody knows that's not true, but
but you put something on it.
You put some more heat on a guy that probably doesn't have as much heat as you want him to.
Correct.
But yeah, it's just it's the shady side of the business. It's just not the business, but just business in general that you just have to deal with it at some point. People learn. We all have at some point. If not, you're lucky. You're expendable. You're always expendable.
Always expendable. One other name to mention on this, The Miz. He has unfollowed WWE and removed all mentions of WWE from his social media accounts. damn.
Yeah, I mean,
like, what is that?
The fact that nobody really knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, is it a work? Is it a shoot? I don't know. Miz has got a lot of things working. He's going to be the host of the new reboot of American Gladiators.
Yes, correct.
And
That's
I
true.
think that's tied in, with the conglomerate. Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% sure in that, but so
I feel like they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be on Peacock, or NBC. Yeah. So
they
there's
a little hand.
You probably don't want to get too crazy and lose that unless his convictions are that strong where he doesn't care about that. Yeah. But if he's a guy that's unhappy, or if he's the next guy to not have his contract renewed, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
He's
got enough cash and name.
And I think that's a guy that like AEW would jump all over and bring over and say, here's a microphone, here's a TV camera. Yeah. Say what you got to say. We don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, R-Truth is going to move the needle much in AEW. People say, but he can go back to TNA where he had such, but with the TNA WWE relationship, I don't know how that. R-Truth seemed to me like a guy that is just gonna go with the flow. Yeah, I'm sure he's hurt by all this, but he knows that like it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll be fine.
He was the first and only black heavyweight champion in NWA history. The only one to do that is R-Truth. Great guy, great wrestler. Like you said, a lot of respect from wrestlers, just continuing to show support for him. I mean, he was just awesome. You know what I mean? Like, he just is a part of the show. You can't always be about, you have to have the entertainment portion of what you're doing. And R-Truth at one point in time did both really, really well. But now getting a little older, he's more focused on the entertainment and has been killing it. Like, you can run down the top 20 of his most entertaining moments in WWE history. And yeah, it would be awesome. So shout out to him. I know he'll land on his feet, and yeah, excited to see what he does next, man. Some other news that has dropped, sir, about WrestleMania 42. Reports are swirling that WrestleMania 42 will be held once again in Las Vegas.
Get them circuit rooms ready again.
Get them ready. Get them ready. We got some calls to make, baby. How do you feel about this, sir? Taking it from New Orleans and back to WrestleMania, back to Las Vegas, where you had your first ever WrestleMania.
Everything about getting it to Las Vegas, and if you're going to make it like a semi-permanent or permanent fixture in Las Vegas, that makes all the sense to me in the world. Because again, TKO now owns WWE. TKO is headquartered in Las Vegas. UFC is all about Vegas. So they have the structure there. They probably want to use that as their showcase weekend.
Yes.
Almost like a convention type thing. Here's what the company's doing. All that makes 100%. And listen, if you're going to have a city that is going to be a week-long event with people coming from all over the world, there's no better city equipped for that than Las Vegas.
True.
You have a million outlets, a million venues to do all your special different conventions and different shows and autograph stuff. The stadium is you're never going to run out of a hotel room. It makes all the sense in the world to like WrestleMania's Las Vegas residency. But to have The Rock come out and make an announcement that it's going to be in New Orleans, and you've got the logo and the graphics ready to go, and you get people in New Orleans excited to then say, just kidding, you get Money in the Bank next year instead. That's not great. But again, this is the WWE that, they are the top company in this business, has been forever, probably will be for a long time. They feel untouchable. There's no such thing as bad PR. They don't care because they know Vegas is going to be a moneymaker.
Yeah, and that's what's very interesting, because if we're looking at it just from a ticket perspective, it wasn't a super successful thing. Like, there were a lot of empty seats.
Well, it was very expensive.
It was.
And Vegas is very expensive.
Correct.
Not very kid friendly.
All true. And it's a 2-day event. You know what I'm saying? Right. Also, so all those things factoring in with that, can lead to people not saying we're gonna, show up to the venue. We'll be watching it on Peacock. So I can see that aspect of it. I think this is interesting because I don't know the last time that they've done something like this where it's been held in the same place back to back. I'm sure it's happened before.
4 and 5 are the only two that I can remember, and that was at Trump Casino or whatever.
Yeah.
In New Jersey.
That makes sense.
That was the only one that I believe. Same venue, same city. I mean, technically, Tampa's had it back-to-back years.
They
but
did.
But one of them didn't count because it was in the COVID year. But
yeah. So it's not unprecedented, you know what I'm saying, for it to happen, but it is unprecedented in the way that it happened.
Yeah, you don't announce it for a city. And New Orleans is a city that big wrestling history. Mm-hmm. You go back to, the early 80s and the Junkyard Dog selling out the Superdome by himself, against the Freebirds. And like, so they're, and you've had WrestleMania there multiple times. You've been to a WrestleMania in New Orleans.
I have.
It's a big market.
Flex.
It's an easy, they know they can go to the Superdome and sell it out. They can even have Hulk Hogan called the Silverdome and nobody cares.
Correct. Correct.
So to kind of screw over a loyal, long-time market for the flashy new, it's not great. But again, it's not going to affect the bottom line for them. It's probably only going to help.
Yeah.
Like they know they're going to make more money in Vegas.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this. Again, it's all about the bottom line
and control. They can TKO, can control it.
I mean, they've got all the connections there already.
Yeah.
They have all the partnerships there. Mm-hmm. It makes all the sense in the world. If you want to do it in Vegas every year for whatever, great.
Say that. Yeah.
Just if that was your plan, don't announce it in another city and take it away from them. That's just not good business.
I agree with you. Final some quick business here. Mariah May making her debut finally in NXT, coming over from AEW. When I heard the news that she was going to be on WWE, I'm like, yeah, that tracks. Just if I saw her, I'm like, oh yeah, WWE, I see that. Just kind of all over her. Really great wrestler. I think the first time I really just got to see her match was watching it with you on AEW with Timeless Tony Storm. And that match was just, out of this world. And don't let the smooth takes fool you. Don't let those looks fool you, man. Like she gets after it. You know what I mean? That was one of the most bloody, most bloody things I had ever seen in wrestling, man. And they both were for it. And it was just really, really a great match. So kudos to her. I'm very curious to see how they kind of handle this. Like, it feels like you're coming from a PG-13 rated R kind of thing to kind of a PG to PG-13 kind of thing.
Yeah, she's definitely going to have to get molded into the WWE, design. But we're seeing that with Penta.
Yeah.
He's had to scale back.
Great point.
Same thing with Ray Phoenix. They all kind of have to learn how to scale back. Yeah. You're not on the independents looking to be a viral video to get discovered anymore.
Right.
This is one that I think the AEW is really going to regret.
Okay.
Letting her get away. She's a star.
She's a star, bro.
She's got it all to be a huge star. She's got the look. She's got the promo down. Her mic work is amazing. And when the bell rings, she's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bummed that they have her in NXT. I think she's bigger and better than that, but I also get it too. You kind of got to earn your stripes. And they just called up, Julia and Roxanne Perez. They're all now on the main roster, so you kind of need to fill that void.
Yeah.
So, she'll put in her time down there and then eventually get to the main roster. But it's a great pickup for WWE. Her time in AEW was mostly in a program with Tony Storm first as like a partner, and then with that amazing feud they had. She's great.
Yeah, she's great. Let's get to the pay-per-view or the, what do they call it now?
Premium live event.
I'm about to say PLE event. I'm old school, baby.
So it'll always be a pay-per-view.
It'll always be that.
Sears Tower and pay-per-views.
Did I pay for this? Yes. I'm paying for my view.
Yes, I'm paying for Peacock.
Yes, this is correct. I do. The Money in the Bank PLE is happening. It's going down. And of the matches that they have right now, maybe there'll be some more added on SmackDown or something like that. but these are the matches that are going to happen. For the women's intercontinental title, Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. I've said this to you before that Lyra Valkyria has really grown on me. I didn't realize how really good of a wrestler that she was, but man, she can go in the ring. On the mic, I think she still needs a little work. Just I don't know what, you know what I mean? It's not my job,
Right.
you know, to figure that stuff out. But something's missing, like maybe be a little more personable or something, you know, like that. But in the ring, like she can go, like she can really wrestle. Now I'm truly entertained by her when I watch her perform. So interested to see how this match kind of plays out.
Yeah, this has been a really good program between the two. It's the Becky Lynch rub has worked. You know, Lyra has definitely upped her game and benefited from being a rival of Becky Lynch. Mm-hmm. She's great. I hope they kind of keep that trajectory going. Mm-hmm. Another win over Becky Lynch will only solidify that.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I think it makes most sense for her to keep that belt. Mm-hmm. And, you know, do you maybe keep this going still? Mm-hmm. Maybe mm-hmm. not. I don't know how much steam it has left. We'll see. Mm-hmm. But it's been a very well done feud between the two of them.
I agree. Cody Rhodes and Jay Uso teaming up to take on John Cena and Logan Paul, aka the Wrestling Ruiners. I mean, this is, you know, just the big money match. You know what I mean? You put your biggest stars together, you team them up, you put them in the PLE, and you kind of see what happens. But do you think something is going to come from this match?
It has to, because there's no stakes right now in this match. And wrestling is all about stakes.
Correct.
Why are we having this match?
Right.
What do you gain from winning this match? Or what do you lose by losing this match?
Correct.
Right now, we don't have any of that. So I'm sure there will be this will lead towards SummerSlam. You know, everybody is pretty sure it's going to be Cody and Cena at SummerSlam. So this will get that going. Mm-hmm. They have to get people excited for the Jey Uso Gunther rematch, which is coming up Monday, right? Yeah. So I'm sure he'll be involved somehow.
Great point.
So this really doesn't, while there's not stakes in this match, that's why I'm not like super excited about it. It's just kind of like, okay, we'll take 4 names that look good on a poster, throw it up there. But this should help steer the ship towards SummerSlam, I think.
This could be their way of finally getting that title on Logan Paul, because I know the powers that be want that. We don't want that, but the powers that be want that. But this could be the way to do it under the guise of ruining wrestling, under the guise of destroying something. Find a way to get him into the match. Maybe he, you know, find him, get him in the Money in the Bank or something. You know, there's a bunch of possibilities that you can do to where when it gets to Monday, he can steal that title and hold it till SummerSlam, because they're like, this will make us the most money and this will do the best justice for us financially.
Yeah, he could do something where he pins Jey Uso in this match and then gets himself and turns that rematch into a triple threat.
Right, exactly.
There are many ways they can do this. But that's why I think this is not necessarily a match for stakes, but there definitely will be consequences from this match.
Oh, that's true. All right, let's go to the women's Money in the Bank match. You got Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Naomi, and Stephanie Vaquer. Who do you got in this? This is honestly the women's Money in the Bank the past few years has been amazing. I've said that about not just the women's Money in the Bank, but just women's matches in general. You know what I'm saying? On both programs have just been outstanding. And I am really excited to sit and watch this one. There are some true, straight up, real wrestlers in this. And I'm just really excited to watch them perform. I would like Naomi to get the briefcase, because just watching her turn heel, I feel that's the payoff for me for her, is to get that opportunity. And if Jade wins the title, then her and Jade at SummerSlam is kind of how you go about that. And you can still run some Bianca Belair stuff there as well. Does she, you know, stay? Does she turn heel? You know, all the other stuff. So, but any one of these women winning, I could definitely make a reason for why they should win and why it would be awesome for them to win.
Yeah, this is why I think they do a much better job with the women's when you have these big matches. we were just talking about this with Elimination Chamber. Like we had no idea who was going to win the women's match, and it made sense. Either one, you can make a case for any one of them to win. Rhea Ripley is kind of like the obvious choice. Gets her back in the world title picture.
Correct.
Maybe gets her in a Tiffany Stratton type thing. You can cash in whenever. Naomi makes sense for all the reasons you said. It could kind of boost her up. Stephanie Vaquer, that would be who I'd want to win, just because she's been on such a tear.
Yeah, man.
But I don't know if they're ready to put her there yet. But that Money in the Bank kind of helps build her, though, because she's got a year to get there, and they can then take their time and see how the crowd reacts to her to figure out, okay, we're gonna use this to your advantage and make you champion, or crowd's not digging you, you're gonna cash it in and lose. Like Austin Theory a few years ago. Like, I think Rhea Ripley can get a title match anytime she wants.
Sure, she
doesn't need that, but I think especially on the women's side, when you have that, it buys you a year to figure out if that wrestler is worth the title run or not. It buys them time, so it might make sense for Stephanie to get it there, so then they can, as you said before, it's all about what the fans want, and you can gauge what they feel of her 2, 3, 4 months from now and figure out if she's part of that world title picture.
That's a great point, sir. Let's go to the men's Money in the Bank match. Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Penta, Seth Rollins, Andrade, and El Grande Americano. Definite shock that El Grande Americano was in there.
I love how Chad Gable got a shot to get in, and then he lost, and then he was wearing Chad Gable's boots.
Yes, that was so great.
Somebody didn't.
That was so
catch
great.
Him at Gorilla.
I think they did that on purpose. I personally think, I want to believe that they did that on purpose.
Probably.
Say, I loaned him my boots. You know what I'm saying? It's because I believe in him. We're good friends and stuff like that. I think all roads kind of lead to Seth Rollins.
Yeah, this one's pretty obvious.
Okay. I
mean, you look at that group.
Yeah. Seth screams, I'm winning this.
Yeah, and that, whereas the women buys you time, with the men, it plays into the story.
Yeah.
Because Seth Rollins wants all the power. And what more power can you have than having that suitcase for the next year? Knowing that he can call his shot whenever he wants. It's just a matter of, him deciding this is when I'm going to take it. Yeah. Does he take it as quickly as Monday if he wins?
Yeah.
If Gunther's beating the holy hell out of Jay Uso, does he run in, cash it in, and steal the title?
Yeah.
We've seen him do that before.
It's happened.
That was a great WrestleMania moment.
It was.
Where, like any other guy in that match, do you really see them like outside of Solo Sikoa, but been there, done that? And I think the universe has kind of cooled off on him.
Yeah.
Not that they were ever that red hot into him to begin with.
Sure, but he had some.
But he was there
behind him.
But now that the whole bloodline thing is over and done, you got to find a new spot for him, and I think they're saving him for Jacob Fatu.
Yes, they're absolutely doing that.
So yeah, Seth Rollins to me is I'd be shocked if anybody else but him won that match, unless it's CM Punk that screws him.
That can definitely happen.
But at some point you got to move on from that too.
I'm also rooting though for LA Knight to get it.
That'd be cool,
because that'd be really cool.
It'd be a good moment.
Yeah, man, and great payoff for that.
Because you talk about a guy that the fans have been screaming for years, and they just don't seem to want to give him that next level.
Yeah,
that would be a pleasant surprise. But again, I think on the men's side, it's more about the story, and it just Seth Rollins winning that match fits the story better.
It just fits better. All right, let's get to AEW, sir. You have some things you wanted to get in and talk about with AEW. One of them is the match that will happen is Will Ospreay, I like calling him Motion Spray, going against Swerve Strickland next week.
Yes.
And as you put here, seeds planted for MJF versus Ospreay, sir.
Yes, that for All In, their big show in July. But yeah, they did a 4-hour show, free show. They did Dynamite and Collision back to back on Wednesday, and they're doing that again this coming Wednesday, where they're going to be on 4 hours straight, which is a little much for me.
That's a long time.
Pay-per-views is one thing because you know it builds and then it's going to end with, but 4 hours, I mean, it's a little much, but like I didn't watch it live. I fast forward through a lot of it today, which is the way to do it. But Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland next week. Yeah, sign me up for that. And they're giving that match away on free TV. It's going to be on a 4-hour show. They're going to get time. That's going to be a 45-minute match. It's going to be amazing.
Great point.
And then they did plant the seeds with a backstage. MJF now hanging out with the Hurts. It's interesting, but if they get MJF and All In, that card is really shaping up to be worthy of a stadium show.
I'm so curious about MJF and just being in the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah, you know he's gonna be MJF
he's
eventually.
He's gonna MJF it up.
Yeah, and he'll use it to his advantage. And once he gets what he wants, he'll push him off to the side.
Yeah. And honestly,
how they get there is going to be the fun part.
It's honestly, when I see it, it reminds me of when Owen Hart joined the Nation of Domination. That's what I think of when I see that.
So you're saying like we should go to some of those shows at the Aragon, start calling MJF Nugget, see what happens.
No. No. You've got Kenny Omega winning a 4-way match, and in your words, a banger.
Yes,
of a 4-way.
It was a great match.
Tell us about it.
That was for the International Championship.
Okay.
Claudio Castagnoli and Brody King was part of it. Great match. And then after the match, they've been teasing Omega and Okada for All In, and we finally got it. We got the confrontation. They officially announced it. Omega versus Okada at All In on July 12th for both titles, the Continental title that Okada holds and the International title that Omega holds.
Okay.
That is going to be an amazing match. These guys, if you've never seen any, they've had legendary matches in Japan. It's going to be amazing. That card, you've already got Hangman and Jon Moxley for the title. You've got Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm, going to be great. Now you're going to get Okada and Omega, maybe Ospreay and MJF. You've got all these. And here's what I love about this is they've got 7 weeks to build. There's not another pay-per-view between now and then. And that's going to allow them. And that's something I loved about AEW when they first started is they only had 3 or 4 pay-per-views a year. So each one got 3-4 months of build, which is old school. I mean, that's the way it used to be. And it just made them feel more important than every 3 weeks. Tune in to Peacock for, 4 matches that are special. Why are they special? Like, this is going to give you almost 2 full months to get excited, to get hyped, to get invested in these matches. It's going to make that card even better.
Yeah, I can see that, sir. And also, you mentioned a debut that happened in AEW, sir.
Yes, another female superstar, Thekla, who is intriguing. I'm going to be honest. I don't know a whole lot about her. She was a big player in Stardom, which is another one of the it's an all-female division in Japan. But what intrigued me about her was her nickname is the Toxic Spider.
That's a dope ass nickname.
So you have me intrigued just by that.
You had me at hello.
And she had her debut match. It was a squash match, but the promos they did, the vignettes leading up to her, and I looked up some of her matches. She's got a violent streak in her. She's physical. I think it could be, we talked about they lost Mariah May. This not the same type of personality, not the same look, or even the same wrestler, but could definitely fill that void. They had her attack Jamie Hayter when she first came out, so could bring another dimension to that women's division. And All In, there's been talk that Britt Baker could be returning for that as well.
Ooh,
so she's been gone for a while, and a lot of reports of that she's fallen out of favor, but they also know she sells tickets. So
Britt sells tickets. Yeah, that's facts.
They're apparently Thunder Rosa, who they've had a long rival against, a challenger to a hair versus hair match.
Oh, not the hair match
at All In. So
the hair match.
That could be fun.
That's that
so
be a lot of fun.
Again, the build. I'm really looking forward to. They announced this show almost a year ago, and now we're finally getting to what it's all about. And I think it's going to be a fantastic show.
Okay, another 4-hour show for AEW.
Another 4-hour show this coming up week. Again, probably a little too much. I'm not going to watch 4 hours live.
Okay,
of anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Unless it's overtime Stanley Cup final game.
Okay, yes.
But even there, you get breaks.
That's true. That's true.
So I will be Thursday morning fast forwarding to the good parts again.
Okay, that's how I roll. Then you do it how you want to do it, kids. If you want to watch it live or fast forward, either way it works.
Yes.
And shout out to AEW just on a personal note, because just watching what they've built and finally finding who they are and their identity has been really fun to watch, because it's very hard, to get this kind of thing started off the ground. But shout out to Tony Khan, man, because you're gonna take bumps and bruises along the way.
Yeah.
In this industry, especially, man, like people are gonna be harsh on you. Wrestlers, things can go wrong, and they will go wrong, and chaos will ensue, and all that stuff will happen. But if you stick with it, man, you can really find and kind of build your company and find your identity. And I feel like AEW is definitely finding their identity, man. So I just want to give them kudos for that, for sure.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of theirs since day one, and it kind of feels like it did back in 2019 and 2020 when it first started again, where this was something different. They've had their pitfalls, they've had bad luck.
Yeah.
It felt like they were going to be a real player when CM Punk came on board, and then that whole thing happened, and then people felt once Punk left and returned to WWE, it was going to be the end of AEW.
Yeah.
But they're making smarter decisions. They're downsizing their productions. They're going to smaller venues, which is better for everybody. And they've got reportedly less voices in the room, creative wise. And yes, they seem a little more focused. And are they a perfect company? No, not by any means.
No.
But I really enjoy their product on a weekly basis, and nobody comes close to their pay-per-views. And that's why I'm super excited for All In. I can't wait.
All right, shout out to them. Let's get to the segment, ladies and gentlemen. Heel of the week. Greg, do you have a heel of the week?
It seems like this is slowly but surely turning into let's dump on the WWE segment. But, maybe stop being a heel every week.
And that's coming from this guy.
We both have our reasons to call out the WWE. Obviously the R-Truth kind of started it.
Yeah.
The way they handled that. We talked about that. But just in general, they had their Netflix show on Monday, and June 2nd, and no mention of Happy Pride, and this comes on the heels of absolutely no mention of Black History Month in February, when they had in the past.
Yeah,
every February.
Yeah, they did, and
it's disappointing.
Yeah.
It is, but it isn't, because we all know who, where their allegiances lie. We all know who their buddies are. We all know who their target audience is. And you don't want to put a pride thing out there, because you don't want to have anonymous people, making outraged posts about it. But here's my thing about all this, where the WWE going to, especially after my first WrestleMania, when you go to that, you see everybody there it's not all one walk of life. It's not all one color. It's not all one belief system. It is a community made up of everybody.
That's a fact.
So if you're okay with taking Black fans' money, LGBTQ money, then you should it shouldn't be this difficult to take 5 seconds to acknowledge them and say you're welcome here, and we want you to be included. But the only color they see is green.
Yeah, that's perfectly said and super fair. When I saw this, I said, wait a minute, they didn't acknowledge Black History Month? And I immediately went to my friends in my wrestling chat, all Black, and I was like, yo, did WWE not say anything for Black History Month? And they were like, I don't think they did. Like, we
This
don't
was the
remember
first year.
it being acknowledged. And I was like, that is crazy. Because you're right. I've seen them go out of their way to acknowledge it during Black History Month, and vignettes made up and stuff on
history.com. Hey, there's Rocky Johnson. And there's all they've done it in the past.
Just a poster or a flyer or a graphic just of all the Black wrestlers. Or
it doesn't take much.
The sit down they had of all the ones who had run the title when it was like Bobby Lashley and Big E and Kofi and all of them just sitting down having a discussion about that. Like, they've always kind of like, we acknowledge this, and to not acknowledge it at all,
it's not great.
Not great.
But again, it doesn't take you to have a master's degree in political science to know why.
Facts.
We know.
Yeah,
but
we understand.
It doesn't
why.
make it any less frustrating. It's just like, you have a very wide community of paying customers.
Yeah.
Whether you believe it or not,
at
least make it appear that you want everybody to be, safe and equal and a part of it.
That's all they're saying.
It's not hard.
It's not hard at all. It's not hard at all to acknowledge and show respect and show some love for it. So, especially if you, like you said, if you're taking their money.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, come on, let's be real about that.
Lots of money.
Yeah,
to go to these events,
tons of money,
and
we'll
buy
continue
the merch,
right? And we'll continue,
and then that doesn't even count the people that affects that work for you.
Yeah. Oh, facts, brother, facts. Yes, man.
Come on,
do better.
Yeah. It doesn't take much to acknowledge these things and just be like, hey, we support everybody.
Yeah,
we support everybody. Saying nothing sometimes is the loudest thing you could possibly say.
And I'm going to leave it right there, man. Thank y'all for enjoying what we do. Thank y'all for liking what we do. If you want to see more of it, then you're going to have to like, share, and subscribe, y'all, because we do this because you all demand it. But we would like a bigger demand. That would be cool.
Yes.
So come on and give it to us, and we will go ahead and continue to do these shows. Shout out to our sponsor, Sunnyside. Make sure you're using that code HICHGO, and you will get 50% off your first 3 orders online, ladies and gentlemen. That is Sunnyside. Use that code HICHGO. Get it. Then watch us and chill out and enjoy yourself. We'll be back to do this again. Enjoy Money in the Bank. Enjoy AEW. Just enjoy wrestling in general. For our producer, Sarah Bear.
Thank you,
stepping
Sarah.
in for us. Shout out to her, man. Shout out to my main man, Special Advocate Greg Boysen. I am Big Dave. We'll catch y'all next time, y'all. CHGO Wrestling. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.